Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 chat. Today we're going to be discussing the Brazilian driver Gabriel Bortoleto and whether he'll ever make Formula 1 and more importantly, will he ever be a world champion. We'll start with Bortoleto's junior career because I have to say I was a little bit underwhelmed when I looked at this.
I'll be honest. Looking at his F3 campaign this year, comparing it to what he's done in the junior categories before then, it's a bit surprising how I can feel he underperformed.
Yeah, I mean, no world championships in karting, so there was never really a sensation in there. And then when you look at his racing record, Italian F4 came 5th. It's not too bad, but yeah, other than that, he did 2 years in FRECA. In his second season, he finished 6th. Not a bad rating, because the championship was quite stacked. If you look at FRECA in 2022, Dino Bogdanovic, obviously the champion. You've got Gabriele Mini, Paul Aron, and then Hadrian David and Cas Havercourt, who are both in there for a second season. Both finished ahead of Bortoleto in 6th. So, interesting that Bortoleto has dominated F3 in the manner he has so far, considering actually his accolades weren't that great in the very junior series.
It's very interesting to see because in F Formula 3 he's kind of racing against the same kind of drivers, Gabriele Mini, Paul Aron, Dino Bogdanovic, the likes. But the difference is this time is he's beating them.
Well, yeah, if you look at the Formula 3 campaign so far, he has been ridiculously good.
He's torn it up.
The rest of the field can't touch him. 58 points from the first 2 rounds. He didn't actually score anything in the Sakhir sprint, so he's done really well. Yeah, he's 20 points ahead of Gregoire Saucy, who is in his 3rd season, I believe, of Formula 3. So he's showing his class. Obviously, then Bogdanovic, FRECA champion, is 3rd, Mini 4th. MAR, can't think who that is.
Marty.
Oh yeah, Pepe Marti. But yeah, so he's up against some strong competition, yet he's really showing his class. 20 points, as I say, ahead of the field. 2 feature race victories.
Out of 2 feature races, so
that's pretty much all you can ask for, and 5 points, of course, in the Melbourne Sprint. Flawless so far, bar that Bahrain sprint race, but that does show he has cracks in his armour.
He does, but I think he's looked very strongly, a very, very, very quick driver. I think the whole of Brazil is very excited about this man and his potential. Because
Brazil we haven't seen a Brazilian F1 driver since Felipe Massa.
No.
Oh, Felipe Nasser in 2017, but I wouldn't really call him a driver. No. But sorry if you're watching Nasser, you're just not very good. But Felipe Dragovic, obviously Formula 2 world champion. We know the passionate support behind him, and I don't know if he'll ever reach Formula 1. I know he's in the Aston Martin Academy, but he's not getting in the Aston Martin team, is he?
They set that up just for him, so...
Yeah, I mean, they do believe in him, but I don't think he's getting in the Aston Martin team for at least 2 years. Until Alonso leaves, surely. But
that's what Alonso's having the time of his life.
And Stroll's not going anywhere for ever. He's genuinely going to just keep driving until the end of time, but... Yeah, so I don't really know whether Dragovic will reach Formula 1, which is a shame. I want to see a Brazilian driver back in Formula 1. I think it's important for the sport to have a driver from a nation which has such heritage in F1. I mean, you look back at Brazilian world champions, obviously the most notable, Ayrton Senna, but you've also got people like Emerson Fittipaldi, obviously potential world champion Felipe Massa. I don't think that's something we've discussed on the show yet.
I don't think it's going to happen either.
Massa trying to get that 2008 championship overturned in his favour.
Just get over it.
But you would, wouldn't you, if you had the chance to get a Formula 1 World Championship? You'd pursue all legal avenues you could.
You should have tried when look what Merck did when Max won in 2021.
Yeah.
They tried when it happened, but eventually they just accepted that they
it's come out with the Massa situation. It's come out after. It's only come out recently that the Singapore Grand Prix situation with Renault, that was deemed that Renault were guilty of fixing the result. They forced their other driver to crash so Alonso could go on and win. What Massa's saying is that race should be thrown out, and then that gives Massa the championship. Which isn't the same situation as the 2021 Abu Dhabi.
I think he should just get over it. One man that wouldn't be that petty would be Bortoleto, who's a very, very quick driver.
Yeah, especially since he takes from Alonso, obviously in the Alonso Academy now. Do you think that makes a big impact on drivers? Obviously, we've seen
that's my thing.
A couple others.
Because he's not actually attached to a team academy. So we spoke about that in our most recent video. Go watch that if you haven't.
Which is interesting because other Alonso Academy guys are in other teams. Like Nicola Solov is in that Alonso thing, but he's also in Alpine's Academy. So I don't think Bortoleto would move to Alpine. I think
No.
Bortoleto will probably join Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Is my prediction. And Aston Martin going to start this weird Brazilian contingent of academy drivers.
But I think that's good because it does, with ties to Fernando Alonso, does give you a very good chance of getting into Formula One, especially showing the pace that he has so far this season. I think obviously we're only 2 rounds into a 10-round season. Can he keep this kind of pace up for 8 more rounds?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, next up we head to Imola at the end of May, so we're quite a way away from that still.
Yeah.
But that will be a good test. Imola's a tough circuit. The first 2 rounds I've been to, they're quite modern, so especially Bahrain. I know Melbourne's a street circuit, but they're both quite modern circuits. Obviously, Melbourne's been updated recently. But Imola's a lot more traditional and quite a difficult racetrack, I'd say.
And I think both every track's got to offer differences because, yes, Bahrain, everyone had driven at Bahrain in Formula 3, but when you go to Australia, new circuit for the Formula 3 calendar this year, everyone had to adapt to it. So did that give Bortoleto an advantage? When we go to the tracks that F3 have raced before, will other drivers be quicker because they know the circuit?
Oh, potentially, but maybe a fresh set of eyes can make all the difference. I mean, if you look at Formula 2 this year, the 2 drivers that were doing so well at Saudi, Victor Martins and Ollie Behrman, well, neither of those had raced it because Formula 3 doesn't go to Saudi, and yet they're both at the sharp end. So it does, of course, but that's more due to their inexperience rather than the track.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely shows that maybe experience isn't the be-all and end-all. However, we've spoke quite glowingly about Bortoleto so far. I do have a couple reservations. I do think that Trident is incredibly quick. Is Bortoleto, for lack of a better term, a car merchant?
No.
Why not?
When I first look at his 2 Trident teammates, Fornaroli and
Ollie Goethe in 6th, Fornaroli in 9th.
They're doing pretty well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Trident are the only team that are consistent in Formula 3.
But I
and
don't think
horrific in F2.
But I look at I still think Prem are very quick. I mean, they've dominated it for years.
But they haven't, have they? Trident was so good last year.
Yeah, they were.
And the year before. I mean, the fact that they've now won 5 consecutive feature races in Formula 3 does not say quite a lot about the fact that car is just incredibly good.
It is, but they can be challenged. They definitely
can. They?
Be. Yes,
because so far I've seen Bortoleto win 2 feature races by like 5 seconds.
He's done nothing else in the sprint races.
No,
I don't think it's just the car. I think Bortoleto's a fantastic driver.
But that's exactly my point, though. If you look at they've not done anything in the sprint races, right? When they're down the order, and they've got to fight past other drivers. When Bortoleto's been down the order, he's struggled with racing. But when he's got the quickest car and he's at the front, he drives off into the sunset. So I may be being a little harsh here, and I'm sure the comments will attack me for this, but I do have my reservations about Bortoleto's ability if he's not in that quickest car. I think that's the same
with all the other drivers. You look at the Premier drivers. If you whack them at the front, they're going to drive off. They're going to drive in a straight line and do pretty well.
I disagree. I think Bogdanovic is a really, really good driver, and I think the same for Gabriel Mini. I think if you look at Mini's performances so far, I'd say he's been more impressive because of that. He's in like the 3rd or 4th quickest car.
Yeah, but Gabriel Mini's just class.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Bortoleto I don't think this 20-point advantage is going to stay.
No, and I don't think he's the best driver on the Formula 3 grid, but I do think he's got very high potential, and I do think he can, succeed in racing.
Yeah, I just feel that the Trident team are starting to breed these really mid drivers. I mean, you look at the drivers from Trident last year that went up into Formula 2. Zane Maloney is really rough around the edges, very quick driver, but erratic.
That's the thing, we haven't seen that from Bortoleto. We haven't seen erraticness.
Well, he's not. Well, so far he's not been in the pack, and when he has, he's crashed at Bahrain.
Well, no, he got knocked out.
Okay, fair enough.
Not knocked out. He got hit off by.
He got sparked out cold.
He got hit off by some crap driver.
But yeah, and then who are the other Trident drivers? Stanek. He's been horrific in Formula.
We know Trident aren't good in Formula 2 though.
And then I can't remember who else drove for Trident last year.
I don't know where they've gone.
No.
I know too. Obviously, not last year. But
they had like David Schumacher, didn't they? And he wasn't. He did nothing.
No.
After that, I don't even know where he went.
Yeah, no. I see your point, but I think Bortoleto. If anything, my reservations would be on Goethe and Fornaroli.
Well, I mean, the fact that they're 6th and 9th, when I think that Trident's clearly the quickest car. Because that's the thing with Formula 3 and Formula 2, obviously. They say spec series and all this, but it's not really, is it? When you look at the pace of the Trident on the straights, clear advantage.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how
Well, yeah, I think the fact that Bortoleto, as you say, so far ahead of his teammates does show he has got that a bit more ability than them.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether he is at that same level as Bogdanovic and Mini, because if you look at his junior career before now, it doesn't show that he is better than that.
I don't think he is. I think it would be. I think it's very close between Bogdanovic and Mini.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at best driver on the Formula 3 grid right now, I would put those two up there. Saucy, obviously, but he's in his third year, so it's a bit unfair to compare them.
This is like when Arthur Leclerc finished fourth or whatever it was last year's championship, and
don't even go there.
now he's in the Dams rocket ship. But I don't really care for Gregoire Sauce. I don't think he's ever going to reach Formula One.
Does it say something like, yes, Borto's in a quicker car, but he's outperforming a man that's got 2 years more experience than him.
But I don't rate Saucy full stop, so I don't really care for his experience. I just don't think he's that solid a driver. I think he's fine. He'll probably do whack or something and smash it, but I don't think he's a Formula 1 calibre driver.
He's kind of just filling a gap that someone else needs to be able to get into.
Yeah. But I think he was only allowed to stay, really, because there was such an influx. Like, F2 cut a lot of the deadwood last year, meaning loads of F3 rookies could flood into F2, meaning loads of other Frecker drivers could go up into F3. So I think that's why Gregoire Sauce has been allowed to stay. If not, he would probably have been a driver that didn't stick around. But yeah, and then Bortoleto, can he make it to Formula 1? We'll discuss the positives, discuss the negatives, looking at Gabriel Bortoleto's strengths and weaknesses. Can he make it to F1, or do you think he's just a level below other drivers?
See, that's what I think. I think he will be F1 quality, but it might be the story of just because if he gets pushed up, right? Say it's like him, Mini, Bogdanovic, Aaron, all of them are kind of progressing together, and they're all looking for a space in F1. For me, he would be the last one on the list to take into your Formula 1 team. And that's why I think he will be good enough for F1. I just don't think there'll be enough space.
Yeah, potentially. With Bortoleto, because obviously this season so far has been very Hauger-esque. Yeah. He's dominated F3. Do you think he could do a similar thing in Formula 2? Or, I mean, obviously we're going on the presumption that he continues this good form throughout the season and goes up to F2. Would he do what Piastri did and jumped both, in which case he's got to be a Formula 1 shoe-in? Or is he going to struggle like Hauger has so far in Formula 2?
Like different levels.
It depends who he joins, obviously.
There's different levels too. These feeder series. That's the word. You have your Piastri. Can you go back-to-back championships and put yourself straight into F1, or not straight into F1, but you know what I mean? Win back-to-back championship and get an F1 seat, or do you dominate one championship, get stuck in the other?
Where do you think? What opening do you see in Formula 2 next year? Yeah, what seat do you think will be open?
Because I think never going to leave, man.
But that's not much of concern. He's driving for Campos.
No one's driving.
They're all right, but they're not stunning. I think. I mean, obviously, Kushmani's crushed it for Campos this year, but I think there'll be a seat opening at ART.
Yeah.
Because Pourchaire's going at the end of this year, no matter whether he wins the championship or not.
Would that be?
Is that the best team? I'd argue so. They look rapid.
Would they take Bortoleto though?
Who else do they take?
Well, the only reason I'd say Mini is because obviously the Alpine... ART have taken on Alpine, 2 Alpine drivers this year.
They have.
An Alpine driver last year.
Pourchaire's not Alpine. He's Alfa Romeo.
Oh yeah, Martin.
I don't think they have any preference over who they take up though. So if Bortoleto is taken up by an Aston Martin, for example, would ART jump forward? I also don't look at any of the ART drivers in F3 and think ART are going to want to continue them on.
No.
I mean, Solov, I think, needs another year.
Yeah.
He's clearly too young. Frederick and someone. That's not a great sign, is it? When you can't remember who on earth drives for them.
But yeah, I think... My only thing with Bortoleto is I think he has the quality.
Oh, Saucy, of course.
Oh, yeah. I think he has the
He could then.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. But...
I think he has the quality, but I just don't think he'll be able to I don't think he'll be able to beat other drivers to the seats.
Well, he could get MP. Unless Colapinto steps up into that seat.
And then if we're stepping up into F1, I think, again, the seats are limited options.
Unless, of course, he does have an Aston Martin sort of situation.
And then...
Because if he let's say he wins Formula 3 next year, he's in F2 2024.
Yeah.
If he wins that, he's then surely a shoe-in somewhere. or he's a Piastri situation,
Oh,
which
yeah.
guess they're giving me a year.
If he goes back to World Championships, then yes.
I don't think
he
Alonso will sign another deal. I think he'll surely retire in 2025. I mean, obviously,
So would
probably,
that seat
you never
be
know.
opened?
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If Bortoleto wins back-to-back championships, Alonso drives 23-24, retires, like his contract states.
But Aston would have to add up, do we want Bortoleto or do we want Drugovic?
Well, that would be an interesting situation. I think if Drugovic isn't in a seat by 2025, he'd have found another one. Admitted F1's not going to work for him.
So if Bortoleto can make it to F1, can he win a World Championship?
It all depends on situations, doesn't it? And who's dominant? Because Max Verstappen could go on to win 7 in a row, or 8 in a row, or something like that.
The next 7-8 years.
Red Bull could fail in 2026, and Bortoleto could find himself in the right situation.
With
So
Aston.
I don't think Bortoleto will ever have the pace to fight right at the front,
No.
based off what I've seen so far. Of course, drivers improve.
He might
you never
suddenly
know.
become the next.
Well, exactly.
Best
He
thing.
could win the next. If he wins F3 and F2, then I'll be going, fair enough. He's got to be in with the conversation like Piastri is. But I don't think he's currently showing the same sort of levels that drivers like Charles Leclerc or George Russell, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen have in the junior categories. If he keeps up his form in F3, though, I see no reason why he can't make it to the top.
Days. We'll see, he's still got a long way to go.
But I don't think he'll ever win a championship on pure pace. My personal opinion, he gives me Rubens Barrichello vibes. And not just because he's a Brazilian with a very similar name, but I could see him being a Ferrari backup to a Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll ever be that star.
He's kind of a quick second driver that will win the races when your first driver's down the order. But
Could he be a potential Audi gamble? I mean, we've spoken how we think Audi are likely going to go for an experienced head, a big signing, and then bring in a rookie. Well, if Gabriel Bortoleto won the F2 championship a year before, or if he does 2 years in F2 and then wins the championship, he'd go straight into He'd go into that Formula One conversation in 2026, the same year that Audi come in with the new regulations. Is there a chance Bortoleto sees an opportunity there?
His best. What he's got to do is make sure he is top of that pecking order. So when people look at the F2, who can we graduate from F2? He's got to make sure he's number one on that list.
Because there's a reason he's not signed with the academy right now.
Yeah,
and that's because in karting and in the junior formulas, he's not shown enough yet.
He was beaten by his other competitors.
Well, exactly. So they've got the driver academies. If Bortoleto can win this championship, he'll earn himself a place in somewhere like the Aston Junior Driver Program.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere like, would Red Bull?
I'll say, when we've got the F3 championship, we'll have him as well, just in case.
That's what they love to do, isn't it? They sign literally everyone.
Look at Fittipaldi, had a good Formula 2 season.
Exactly, they seem to be loving Brazilians at the moment, so you never know. But yeah, maybe he'll win a World Championship. Maybe he'll reach Formula 1. We want to hear from you guys, though. Keep the conversation going in the comments below. Do you think Gabriel Bortoleto can make Formula 1? Do you think he can win a World Championship? Seems to be a bit of a stretch currently, but you never know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure we'll have a lot of passionate Brazilians either loving the fact we're making a video on him or hating the fact we don't think he's going to dominate Formula 1 for years to come. But yeah, leave your thoughts, whatever they are, positive or negative. That is all for today. Then make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. Forgot what you should say at the end of YouTube videos. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.